Good evening and welcome to Tribune Sports Live. I'm Zach Steele along with Scott Buttram. Scott, Pinson Clay, exactly what we thought it was going to be.
It really was. It was a rivalry game. Sometimes they don't live up to expectations. This one certainly did.
And Hewitt Trustful did exactly what we thought they were going to do on the road at Grissom. They took care of business. That game was over with early.
It was. Hewitt had their way with them, and Grissom just didn't really put up much of a fight.
And unfortunately, Springville, Center Point, still kind of an exercise in futility, just not playing very well right now.
That's exactly right. Center Point, and I know that coach and that team, and they are not into moral victories. They were close. They had a chance to win that game, and you know it's killing them right now because they could have broken that streak. But
absolutely.
I saw improvement out of Center Point.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about that big Clay Pinson game. We'll be back in just a moment.
Trustful Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trustful Vision Care.
Jefferson Memorial Funeral Home and Gardens is home-owned and operated by the Seal family. I've known Eddie Seal and his son Adam for over 25 years. They're community-oriented and, more importantly, good folks who know how to take care of people in their time of need. That's how Jefferson Memorial became Trustful's funeral home and cemetery. Jefferson Memorial is located at 1591 Gadsden Highway. You can call them at 322-0543. Before your need arises, let Jefferson Memorial family take care of your family.
Welcome back. And Scott, you were at that Clay Pinson game. Tell us about the atmosphere.
It was electric. It was exactly what you would expect. Both stands on both sides of the field were packed. The game was very much a back and forth game. Let me tell you, these are two of the most evenly matched teams, in my opinion, in 6A. If they played 10 times, it could easily be 5 wins apiece. I don't think the separation would be any bigger than 6 and 4 for either one of the teams. But some things jumped out that did surprise me. With all the offense going on, Pinson ended up clutching the game with great defensive stands. That was a little bit of a surprise. I thought both coaches schemed the other team extremely well. They were just very impressive out there.
Well, Pinson went in at half and obviously made some defensive adjustments because they only allowed one touchdown in the second half, and that was the difference in this ball game.
Well, that was the difference, but also Pinson scoring with 8 seconds left in the first half. That completely changed everything. Clay was up 2 scores at that point. Clay was up 2 scores with about a minute to go. So when Pinson drives the length of the field, goes in and scores with 8 seconds remaining in the half and goes to the halftime just down 1 score, you could kind of feel everything shift. They knew that they were in position to do what they needed to in the second half, and then the defense really came out and played lights out.
Very good. So you said if they played 5 times, they'd be 5 and 5.
Well, yeah, I said if they played 10 times, they'd be 5 and 5.
Yeah, if they played 10 times, they'd be 5 and 5. Do we see these two teams again later on this year?
I think these two teams are going to have a lot to say with the state championship and the state playoffs for 6A football. They're both good enough to get there, in my opinion. Now, listen, we've got some teams we haven't seen. Auburn is doing extremely well down in the south half of the state. There's some other teams out there. Thompson's playing some good ball, but Thompson's 7A. But I think in 6A ball, these are going to be two teams that somebody's going to have to deal with to get to the championship, or one of them will go.
Very good. Well, Clay's got Center Point. They're on the road next week at Center Point. Yeah. And Pinson's going to host Jasper, a team that Clay took care of very, very easily. So it should be 2 weeks where both teams get wins. So when we come back, we're going to talk about Hewitt Trustful, speaking of wins, and their big victory up at Grissom.
At Alabama Orthopedic Spine and Sports, we partner with you to create a comprehensive treatment plan and, if needed, the most advanced surgical options available. Alabama Orthopedic Spine and Sport, like having a doctor in the family.
Paul Davis Emergency Services of Northeast Birmingham helps by providing needed cleanup and restoration services. Through the appropriate tools and processes, we avoid wasting valuable time to get your property to its previous state as quickly as we possibly can.
Murdoch Tire, home of the $27.99 oil changes that includes free tire rotation, also specializing in brake service, alignments, and new tire sales. Jefferson Title and Closing is committed to providing superior service in the field of closing services, title search, and title insurance. We are proud to join the Trussville community and would like to say thank you for the warm welcome.
All right, welcome back. And Scott, Hewitt is a juggernaut. That's what we can say about them right now. They are absolutely laying waste to the teams that they play.
Yeah, they really are. As I said earlier, they had their way with Grissom. Grissom is not a great team, but that's 7A talent. They're not a bad team. They're not a bad athletic program. So that's a pretty good bunch that Hewitt just absolutely dominated in every phase of the game. We kind of thought after the miscues in special teams last week or the week before that Hewitt would come in with something to prove in terms of just cleaning up their game. They really did that.
Absolutely. And Scott, we always start out talking about Hewitt's offense, but let's talk about their defense for a moment because they are really playing well, anchored by Simon Miskelly. He had a pick six in this ballgame on a really nice play from his linebacker spot. This defense is really playing well right now for Hewitt.
They really are. They dominated on their side of the ball. They have done that pretty successfully all year. Miles Mason was back this year for the Huskies. That showed to have him in the backfield. He showed up on offense as well, playing both ways. But that defense has it all together, and they're doing a good job right now.
We ought to mention Paul Tyson was 16 for 18 for 305 yards. That kid is really playing well in this system.
He was on fire, and probably one of the more exciting things about offense, along with Tyson having an outstanding night, was that Gray Riles came off the bench, got the running game going from the running position at a quarterback, and showed a totally different look to Grissom. Josh has a true changeup on offense should he ever need it. So if things aren't clicking in the passing game, Gray Riles is a threat to come in and take the snap and run the ball and really get things going in that direction. This is looking like a team that ought to be there for the last game.
Absolutely. Hewitt's going to host Buckhorn next week. They're 0-2 in the region, 1-2 overall, so a game Hewitt should probably win. And looking down the schedule, there's not a lot of teams, it looks like to me, that are in this regular season schedule that can even match with Hewitt.
Right, I agree with you. I hope Hewitt's not looking at it that way. I don't think this coaching staff's going to allow it, but it's hard to see who's going to challenge them before they get into the playoffs. They'll have to guard against or trap games at this point.
Absolutely. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about Springville and Centerpoint. We'll be back in just a moment.
Added Storage is the newest state-of-the-art storage facility for the Trussville area. The first month is free, no contracts, easy move-ins, 24-hour access, and state-of-the-art security. Added Storage is guaranteed to match or beat any price in the Trussville area. College Prep U provides families with an expert admissions guide throughout the college search, admissions, and financial aid process. Our dedicated experts help high school students identify their college goals and reach those goals. Lighting Concepts would like to thank the community for supporting their Black Star event, where they gave away more than $20,000 in lighting fixtures and ceiling fans. Visit their showroom, where you'll discover thousands of items featuring name brand designs and guaranteed to be helped with a friendly smile and great service. RE/MAX Trussville is owned by Alan and Nancy Drinkard with more than 30 years of combined experience. The staff are experienced, knowledgeable, and dedicated to meeting your needs. When you choose a RE/MAX sales associate to help you buy or sell, you'll experience a whole new level of service. Wiggins Insurance is Birmingham's home for low-cost auto insurance. Their mission is to provide the best service in the industry by shopping multiple carriers at once for you. David and his team will help you understand the process, and they'll be there to answer questions.
All right, welcome back. And Scott, another tough night for Springville. They host West Point out of Coleman, and only down 13-0 at halftime, but it got out of hand in the second half.
It got out of hand badly, and it's we felt going in. This was one where Springville had a chance to be competitive, and they were for half. But in the second half, it did get out of hand. If you're the coach of Springville, you've been there, you've been in this situation. What are you looking for at this point?
If I'm the coach of Springville, just based on what they've done offensively, I've got to find somebody who's a playmaker, because I think just based on what we've seen so far, this defense is not playing badly for Springville. But at some point, after being on the field the whole game, you're just going to run out of gas, and that's what's going to happen. And I really think if I'm Springville, I'm trying to find a playmaker, and I'm sure the coaches are looking everywhere. But they just don't have a means to score right now, and that's their big problem. So.
Well, and we keep talking about the fact that they're young and they're small. That is true. That's not an excuse. But they are who they are, and they're going to be that way all year. So at some point, you've got to start finding positives. You got to feel that that's what the coaching staff is doing right now, is looking for positives within that team. As you said, a playmaker, something they can start to hang their hat on and start to build the program and grow as the season goes.
They travel to take on Curry next week, and that's going to be another tough one for them. So let's move on to Center Point, and so close this week.
I really thought Center Point was going to pull that out. We were watching the scores all along. It was. I don't think it ever became more than a one-score game, and it was a one-point game through much of the night. And you just had the feeling that this might be their night, but it just wasn't to be.
Well, it all kind of came down to points after and two-point conversions.
Yeah, it does. It always does.
And it looked like they were kind of chasing those two-point conversions, like a lot of teams do sometimes. And unfortunately for them, they're getting better. That's the thing to take home from this, is they're getting better. Now, unfortunately, the good news is they're getting better. The bad news is they are going to take on Clay Chalkville. They have to host them this week after the game that Clay just had against Pinson Valley. So it's going to be a tough one for them.
Clay's going to be angry. And I don't know, Clay doesn't have a lot to be angry about, but they're probably frustrated that they didn't win a game. They were certainly capable of winning and in it, and probably as deserving as the team that did win it. So, they might tend to take it out on Center Point. They also might have a little bit of an emotional letdown after a game like that. Last week was very emotional for the teams, for the crowds, the fans in the stands. So Clay Chalkville kind of has to guard against a letdown, though. I don't think Center Point has the talent to really compete with Clay Chalkville, not at this point, but Center Point, I should say, is improving each week, and let's give them some credit. There's no quit in that team.
Absolutely not. They're doing the best they can. I think they're going to get there at some point this year.
I do too.
And we're hoping the best for them. Absolutely. So when we come back, it's going to be prediction time. We're going to go over these games coming up this week.
Trussville Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trussville Vision Care.
Hi, I'm Kevin, and this is Christy, and we're the team leaders of the Sergeant McDonald team.
Give us a call if you're looking for a home in the Eastern Birmingham market.
Jefferson Memorial Funeral Home and Gardens is home-owned and operated by the Seal family. I've known Eddie Seal and his son Adam for over 25 years. They're community-oriented and, more importantly, good folks who know how to take care of people in their time of need. That's how Jefferson Memorial became Trussville's funeral home and cemetery. Jefferson Memorial is located at 1591 Gadsden Highway. You can call them at 322-0543. Before your need arises, let Jefferson Memorial family take care of your family.
All right, welcome back. It's prediction time. And Scott, we were just talking about at the break. You were 1 point off of that Clay Pinson game. You were 30. You picked 34-31. It was 34-32.
Yeah.
So this week, probably predictions are going to be a little bit easier. We'll start with Hewitt, who hosts Buckhorn. Buckhorn's 0-2 in the region. They come in. And Hewitt's got everything going for them.
And they're back home. Hewitt's back home. Look, Buckhorn's going to have a long trip coming in to Trussville for that game. They're going to have a longer trip going home with a pretty bad defeat. I'm going with Hewitt 48-10.
Okay.
You're
being generous with the 10. I like Hewitt in this one too. I'm going to get Hewitt over 50 just because they didn't get over 50 this past week. So I like Hewitt 56-10.
Well, that's going to come down to whether or not the freshmen are scoring.
That's right.
Well Friday night, because they're going to see the field.
Absolutely. All right. Clay at Center Point, and we talked about this a little bit in the last segment. Clay they're either going to come in angry or they're going to come in with maybe a letdown. So which way are they going to go here?
I think Clay's actually going to come in with a little bit of a letdown, but Center Point doesn't have the horses to make a play out of that. I think Clay's still going to win handily. I think they're going to win 31-10. But they're not going to play well. I just don't think they're going to play well. I think they're going to have a little bit of an emotional letdown.
All right, I'm going to go the opposite way. I think Clay's going to play well, and I think Clay's going to come out and try to correct the things that may have cost them this week, and I think they're going to be reminded about that by the coaching staff at Clay all week long. So I like Clay in this one. I'm going to say 42-14.
Okay.
All right, so Pinson's going to host Jasper High School, a team that Clay beat, we saw earlier, and kind of a surprise. They beat them pretty handily a couple weeks ago. Pinson's got everything going right now.
Right.
So your thoughts on this one? Does Pinson have a bit of a letdown as they host Jasper?
I think this is a trap game for Pinson, but I don't think they'll lose the game. I do think that Jasper's going to play them better than they anticipate them to play. I think Pinson's going to come down a little bit off the high from last week, a little bit emotionally spent. I think this is going to end up being a little better game than anybody expects and a little better game than Coach Nix wants. I think it's going to end up 27-24 Pinson.
Oh, that close, huh? Yeah. I'm with you there. I think Pinson probably gets a touchdown late to kind of stretch it a little bit. I like Pinson 31-21 in this one.
Okay.
All right, Springville at Curry. Curry, a team that's 2-1 on the year. Springville, we already know they're struggling offensively.
Yeah, Curry's a pretty good team. And Springville is not going to win this game. In my opinion, they're going to end up losing it about 28-7. And I'm not sure they can get 7 on the board against Curry. We'll see. Springville's got to continue to look for positives within that team, individual players willing to put out what it takes to be winners, but they're not going to be a winner this week against Curry.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like Curry in this one. I'll say 35-7 in this one. So, all right, that's our show. We'll be back next week with more highlights, more predictions, more commentary. So for Scott Buttram, I'm Zach Steele. So long, everybody.